Happy Wednesday! I hope you're having a fantastic week. If not, it's all right. It'll pass. The not good day, not good week, it'll pass. And tomorrow or the next week, it'll be better. And I was just talking to my cousin today. Actually, we had a great session. She lives in France. And I was catching up with her today, and we were just talking about getting through, certain days or times in our lives that is difficult. And that really inspired the topic for today, actually. How can we be ambitious and successful in our career without stressing ourselves out and without being hard on ourselves? And I think this is such an important thing to talk about, because in the pursuit of our dreams and our goals, I think along the way, it's very easy to sort of feel like stress and even like being really hard on ourselves is part and parcel of the road to success, that whole journey. And this is something that doesn't have to be true. We don't have to live with so much stress, and we don't have to be so hard on ourselves in order to be successful at what we're doing in our business, in the pursuit of our career. So in today's chat, if you have any questions with regards to achieving your goals and how to not be so hard on yourselves, or you want to share any experiences that you have had or that you are going through right now that is challenging and you can't help but stress about it, you can share it here. Hopefully you'll feel better after that and can have a sort of perspective towards your goals and your dreams and your career and your ambitions that is very healthy for you and that can help you be at the top of your game, and that's the goal. Hi to everybody saying hi. Hi Rim, hi Jin, hi Cecile. Great to see you too. Hi Stephen, hi Sarah, hi Connie, Andrea. Wow, amazing timing. I'm gearing up to return to university for my degree. That's great. I know a lot of people have stopped going to school because of the pandemic, and schools are slowly starting to open up. So, I hope that you're looking forward to going back to uni. If you have any questions, Andrea, on how to handle stress when it comes to like achieving your goals and stuff, you can ask away. Hi Alicia. Hi Yingqi. Hi Betsy. Hi Jude, Lara, Mary, Sarah. Looking to change hospitals for my job. Applied for another job. Good luck to you. Hi Alex from the Philippines. Hi Doug. Hi Connie. Casper, thank you. Matet from Thailand. Thank you for rooting for me. Okay, so what I was talking to my cousin about, and something that she brought up, was very interesting and funny, but in a very real way, which is a lot of the times we're trying to achieve our goals. And during these times, we get really stressed out, and we know we shouldn't be stressed out, but we worry. And because we don't really know what the end result will be like, we spend all this time bending over backwards and trying our best, and then feeling like we're not sure if our best is good enough and stressing over that. And then beating ourselves up for feeling bad because we know that it's not logical and we shouldn't be doing this. And then it ends up in an effort where we want to achieve our goals and we want to achieve our ambitions, but because we're so focused on achieving those goals and ambitions that the journey that we're experiencing gets really diluted and compromised. And because our journey has been diluted and compromised, our end goal is also not achieved. And she was saying something about plants, like a plant don't really die because it doesn't have enough water. A lot of plants die because you overwater them, right? So I think it's a great analogy for like stress and beating ourselves up in trying to achieve our goals. because sometimes we try so hard and we beat ourselves up that we end up sabotaging our goals because we get so affected, so negatively affected that we don't perform so well, and then the result isn't very bad. It's very bad. You know, it's kind of like you're trying so hard to take care of your plant because your objective is to have a beautiful plant, and you keep watering it, and it dies, right? And so in this way, in this sense, it really helps us look at life differently. That yes, we want to try our best, and we want to be able to grow, and we want to be able to improve. But we have to ask ourselves, in our journey of growing and improving, are we sabotaging ourselves? Because if we're so focused on the goal may never be realized, or it may be realized in a way that's only like 30%, because we're so focused on making it 100% that we end up not enjoying it so much, we end up stressing over it, we end up beating ourselves up, and we end up suffering during the entire journey to achieve that success, to achieve that goal, that the goal itself becomes compromised. So I hope that makes sense. If not, feel free to ask away. Okay, so I see some questions here, and I'm going to read them out loud. Let's see. Ephraim, good evening. Being a programmer and graphic designer always tires me out, especially demanding bosses and crazy colleagues. I always feel anxious when certain opposite results come out. I love being in school instead of in the workforce. Well, you know, I think that it's a very good question to ask yourself why you love being in school instead of the workforce. A lot of the times, school life is more desirable because it's just less pressure on trying to prove something. We just have to study and we just have to focus on our exam. And it's very black and white, it's very straightforward. But when it comes to our work, like you're a programmer and graphic designer, it's not just your work that you have to produce. You have to deal with your colleagues and your bosses. And above and beyond that, I think that the anxiety that you feel when different results come out, like results that are opposite of what you expect, materializes, like that stress that you feel is a lot of self-pressure that you're giving to yourself, which in school, it's not there, because in school it's very black and white, right? You study hard, you'll definitely do well in your exam. Whereas at the workforce, the pressure is different, because even if you work hard, you may not achieve the result that you desire, because there's so many different elements at play, right? Maybe you're working and a client's tastes are different. So no matter how great your work is, sometimes it's just rejected by clients. Or maybe no matter how many hours you put in or how hard you work, maybe it's not up to your boss's standards. And I feel like this is why school in many ways is a lot easier and more attractive, and why joining the workforce can feel so not fun and so stressful. And this is important for you to identify, like the why, because you don't want the rest of your life to continue down this path where you keep comparing workforce versus school, because it's not going to help you. You're only going to compare and suffer more because you keep thinking that school life is better, and right now your situation is not so great. So Ephraim, I'm really glad that you have the book with you, because in chapter 3, it really talks about communicating positively with people you find difficult. So I hope that helps with like your bosses and your colleagues in dealing with them. But above and beyond that, I think like your perspective and your mindset towards what you're going through right now has to shift a little bit. And when you start to see that in your mind, you tell yourself that it is not that school was better or school you're happier. It is just that now I'm learning a lot more things that I didn't learn in school. And you have to remind yourself that any kind of learning curve is going to be difficult. And if you're reading my book, then you know that life is either a celebration or a lesson, and you can embrace that as a foundation. The philosophy becomes the foundation of what you're going through. So in your workforce, whatever challenges you're facing with your colleague, with your bosses, And with your own self-pressure, you need to be able to look at it as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And one of the key ways to do that is to practice a lot of kindness towards yourself. So if your boss yells at you and your colleagues insult you, you cannot control how they are. Okay, people can be ridiculous or mean for many, many reasons, but you don't be mean to yourself. You don't be sarcastic or critical of yourself, right? You support yourself, like be kind to yourself. So even if you didn't do such a great job, it's okay. Tell yourself that, you know what, you tried your best. You are going to do better the next time. Let yourself off the hook. Don't beat yourself up. This is one of the key ways to not stress in the pursuit of like our ambitions and our career goals. I see Tessa asking about the book. Okay, so this book is available on Amazon and Book Depository. You can click on the link in the caption. Okay, so I missed a few questions on top. I'm going to go back to it, but I just saw this pop up from Erica. Is it okay to quit a job if you're not happy with what you're doing? I got a job recently, but I'm thinking of quitting because of the pressure and stress that work is giving me. I think only you can answer the question. There is, it's like, is it okay to break up with someone even though we've only been dating for 2 weeks, right? Like, nobody knows the answer except yourself. Now, what can help you find the answer though, I think, is to ask yourself what your objectives are, and to also ask yourself to identify what do you mean by pressure and stress that work is giving you. I think this part of analysis and identifying what exactly is causing the stress and pressure is a very important process of deciding whether or not you want to stay in your job or leave. A lot of the time, stress comes from our inability to do something. When you think about it, we only get stressed out when we feel overwhelmed, right? And you have to identify whether the feeling of being overwhelmed comes from your workplace, comes from your boss, comes from your KPI and your targets, or you can identify if the stress is coming from your own expectations of yourself, like the pressure. Identify if the pressure that you're feeling comes from the workplace, or is it a pressure that you put upon yourself? That's the first thing you have to identify. And when you go down the path of trying to identify what exactly is causing the stress and pressure at work, ask yourself whether it's because right now you're learning something that is new and is completely uncomfortable, and that is causing the stress. Because if that is the case, then that stress can be alleviated by you picking up the skills, by you learning, right? It's like you're going to work in a cafe and you need to make coffee as a barista. Now, if you've never made coffee before and there are like 20 people waiting in line to buy coffee and you're late to work and you are a new barista and you're just trained 2 days ago and you have to make all this cup of coffee whilst a line of impatient people are waiting, maybe that's causing stress. And in that case, the stress is coming from your skill, the skill that you haven't actually gotten to a level where you can work efficiently and fast enough and make great coffee so that people are happy, right? So you can identify where the stress is coming from. Now, when I ask you to look at or is it coming from the company, examine if it's the stress and pressure that comes from your company and your employers having a different culture and mindset as yourself. So for example, I used to work for a company that has a very different way of doing things, and on the outset, it seems like we have the same goals, but when I look deeper, I realize the management style is very different from what I personally believe in. It's like in a relationship, you can get along really well with someone and you can be very compatible, but when you start dating, you find that, your values are very different. Maybe you value consideration and you value respect, and the person is very rude to waiters, for example. And so it's not that person is a bad person. It's not that they are wrong. It's just that the both of you have very different values and beliefs. So similarly, in the workplace, very similar things can happen. In terms of management style, maybe in terms of communication, in terms of remuneration, there are a bunch of different reasons, right? So in identifying what is causing us the stress at work, we have to identify whether it's our own internal inability to two things. One, learn the skill so that we are capable enough to do the job well, because stress usually comes from us not being very good at something. So we feel anxiety, we feel stress, because when we're not good at something, you feel stress, right? And the other thing is that it could be wait, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. wait, hold on a second. When it comes to us trying to identify why we're stressed at work, it could be that, and the other thing is that it could be that you're just very hard on yourself. Maybe you have very high expectations of yourself and you feel like you're not meeting those expectations. And so then the thing to practice is to be kind to yourself, right? So this is important, because once you've identified all this, then you know that, okay, if I leave my job, is this a pattern that's going to reoccur? So there's no right or wrong in making any decision. It's basically the process of making a decision is very important. It's not about whether you would make a right or wrong decision. It's about how willing you are to go deep down inside yourself, to be honest and to ask yourself that, is it that you have certain fears that's holding you back from being able to perform well, or is it your communication that you're unable to voice out what you're uncomfortable with? Or is it your own expectations that's holding you back? Maybe you think that it's unfair. And if that's the case, you're going to examine why. And is there a way to either change your mindset or speak to your company about it? And you got to really examine, like, okay, do I know what my company culture is like? Do I agree with that? Does it resonate with me? So it's the same thing when we're going through a decision as to whether we want to stay or leave in a relationship. Do you want to marry somebody? Do you want to break up with a person? It's not about whether you should or you shouldn't. It's very hard to make a decision like that. However, the decision becomes easier once we can identify what we want, and we look at our weaknesses, and we look at our strengths, and we look at our needs and our fears, and we can be honest with them. Right? And then you understand yourself. Once you understand yourself, then you feel braver making a decision. Then you know that no matter what happens, you won't have any regrets. Thanks, Peter, for answering the question. Yes. Let's see. Reading more comments. Alicia here says, I embrace my work by sharing with others. If the rest insult you, I learned that it's better to remove the thorns than have it stuck with you. Yeah, I mean, nobody can offend you if you refuse to be offended. All right, I'm going to go up. Bingjo, hi from Japan. Maria. Betty here asks, I'm so conflicted, by the way, me in my imagination and the me that I actually show up. What is the quick way to resolve this? I don't actually understand this question, so if you would like to elaborate, Betty, you can make a new comment. You can write, let's see. Rim here asks, some jobs require constant learning, for example, programming. How do we handle the stress of our slow learning pace and cope with the imposter syndrome? I think what I was saying earlier with the ability to be kind to ourselves is very important. And I think that I was saying to my cousin today during our chat that, we're so used to knowing or learning how to be kind to others. Why? Is it because you are born just automatically kind to others? You are born knowing that you should be kind to other people? No. Like a lot of the times we're kind to other people because we've learned it. Right? Our parents tell us to be kind to others. Our teachers tell us to be kind to others. We read books that tell us to be kind to others. So it's like in our programming, we're trained to think that we should be kind to other people, and we try our best to be kind to other people. However, there's very little programming or training in being kind to ourselves. Very, like, schools don't tell you to be kind to yourself. And so when we have a slow learning pace, we immediately panic, or we start to feel inadequate, and that further snowballs that stress and that inadequacy, right? And then so, it's like how when you are a little bit clumsy, you get even clumsier because you're thinking about how clumsy you are. And so whatever it is, we can put in the work to learn the skill if we remove the pressure of needing to meet certain standards or needing to be perfect. And if your job requires you to do something, and it's a business exchange, and they're paying you a certain amount of money for you to deliver a certain amount of quality, then it is your responsibility to do your best to meet the quality. Now, the consequences of not being able to deliver when you've promised that you can, which is essentially the job contract, then your employer or the project or the client has the option to let you go. And so it doesn't mean that you are hopeless or helpless. It just means that the terms of the contract isn't fulfilled, which means that when it comes to our skills, right, we ourselves know our level, right? And in our work, if we feel that there are certain things that we're not very good at, instead of feeling stressed, we can look at it upon a challenge, oh, you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to learn. I feel that I can grow so much more, and I need to find out how. And in the meantime, remove the stress by not beating yourself up, by not having the imposter syndrome and feeling oh, you're just faking it, and this is not the real you, and then stressing out over that. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it is what you do that matters. It is not what you say, it's not what you think. It's how much effort you make into trying, Let's see. Cass, I'm so glad. Anka here says, currently studying for my residency exam, and even though I'm excited to become a doctor, sometimes I get discouraged and overwhelmed by the amount of information I have to learn. How can I keep myself motivated and also keep my focus on the way? Anka, I think that the first thing you can do for yourself is to acknowledge that it's so freaking hard to study to be a doctor, and it's like saying, I want to be a baker and I don't really know how to do it, and I'm studying it, and it's really frustrating. Being a doctor is hard, right? And being a baker, it's hard. Being a mechanic is hard. Being anything, it's hard. If you're not used to cleaning toilets, then being a janitor, it's hard, right? If you have a boss that expects you to perform to a certain standard, then it becomes even harder. So what I'm saying is this, obviously, when you're a medical doctor and you're studying to be one, people's lives are on the line, right? It's not like with baking, it's either they like it or they don't like it. No one's going to die from it. Hopefully not from food poisoning, but you know what I mean. So I think what I'm trying to say is the first thing is acknowledge when you feel like it's so hard. Then the next thought you can have is, of course it's hard. Being a doctor is freaking hard. It's part and parcel of the journey. It's like being in a relationship and saying that, oh my God, we're arguing or we're disagreeing. Of course you're going to disagree. You're in a relationship, right? It goes with the territory. And so just acknowledging that out loud, either out loud verbally or even to yourself in your head is important, that yes, there is an insane amount of information that you have to learn. And that's part of the process of studying to be a doctor. And yes, it feels crazily overwhelming. And you acknowledge to yourself that it's because it is overwhelming, right? So having an overwhelming amount of information, that can be a fact. But whether or not you feel discouraged and or demotivated, that's up to you actually, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself, like, what is your goal in life? You know, if being a doctor is what you want to be and what the career that you choose for yourself, then I think the first thing you need to do is to help yourself first before you can help anybody else. Like, doctors are helping people. And if you cannot learn to help yourself, then how can you even help people? Do you know what I mean? Like, when I say help yourself, I mean, give yourself a break. You know, like, tell yourself that it's okay that I'm feeling really shitty right now because I'm human, and this feeling will pass. And I'm just gonna be okay with it. I'm gonna go do something I enjoy, and I'm gonna like acknowledge that I'm human, I have emotions, and I get overwhelmed by the information I have to learn, and maybe I get a bit worried about my exam. So you know what? I'm just gonna like do something else for a little bit and let the emotions pass and come back to it later. You know, that's an act of being kind to yourself, right? It's like if you're gonna teach a child math and they're saying that this is too hard, you know, there's so many things to learn, you know, you want to help the child learn by kindness and encouragement and saying that, you know what, maybe you're tired, you know, let's go take a nap, and when you wake up, we'll start again, you know, when you're feeling better, right? That's what you'll do to the child, right? That's how you'll teach a child. So why don't we talk to ourselves like that, right? Like, hey, you know what, you're not feeling so capable right now, and it's okay. And so just take a little break and come back to it later. Right? You don't have to think thoughts like, oh, why do I feel this way? I shouldn't be feeling this way. You know, like I should be more motivated. You know, there's no should. Take away the should in the vocabulary. I hope that helps. Let's see. If you've just joined us today, we are talking about achieving our goals and ambitions and being successful in our career without feeling stressed out. Ankar, yes, we only compare ourselves with the best ones and forget how far we've actually come. Yeah, you're most welcome. And it's true, you know, like we do have a tendency to like compare ourselves to people, and I think that when you do compare yourself, you don't beat yourself up for comparing yourself. You just laugh a little bit and go, ha 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 ha, you know, I'm so human, I'm comparing myself, and it's not gonna, like, why am I doing it? You know, every time I compare myself, I'm doing a disservice to the gift that is my life, right? And so yeah, don't do that. It's easier said than done a lot of the times, but I think the more you practice not comparing yourself, then the more you're able to get into the mindset that you are focusing on what you personally want to achieve and what is personally important to you. But at the very core of not comparing ourselves, it comes from self-acceptance and self-love. And I feel like, you know, we, at the core of us, always seek some sort of validation, and it's normal. However, I think we need to ask ourselves, why are we seeking that validation? Because when we go deep enough, we'll find that we seek that validation to be loved, to be respected, to be successful. We seek that validation because deep down inside, we want to prove that we are worthy. We want to prove that we are enough. And so therefore, to not compare ourselves to people, we need to accept ourselves and already feel like we are worthy and already feel like we're enough. And that is the key to not comparing ourselves. It's not the like, it's like, you know, if someone is wanting to lose weight or wanting to put on weight and we're saying, oh, you know, just eat more, just eat less, you know, it sounds like really simple. So it's not just like, oh, just don't compare yourself. You gotta figure out like why. Why are we eating so much? Why are we eating so little? Why are we comparing ourselves? You know, why are we being so critical of ourselves? Why are we so hard on ourselves? Why are we stressing out? We got to find out the why. If you've been following my live chats and you watch my videos, you know that my favorite question is why? Why? Alicia here says, I realize that comparing myself to others is hard. As to me, I know my strengths and my weaknesses, so we can compare ourselves to challenge to be a better self, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that it's not, when you're comparing yourself against yourself, it's more of an evaluation. It's not a comparison. So you're just looking at where you were and where you are right now. And I personally do this for my life, where I constantly want to grow and I constantly want to improve by my own benchmarks. It's sort of like, I know that I want to have a great relationship with the people I love, and what's stopping me from that? Well, maybe sometimes I'm impatient, maybe sometimes I'm defensive, or whatever it is. Maybe I take things personally. So then I work on those things so that I can achieve my goals, and then I can sort of see like, oh, last year, how was my level of patience? How was my communication skills, right? I think you could do, like at work, we always have like the evaluation report or employee evaluation, and that's what the company does with you to measure your progress. But I think we can do it for ourselves, even if you're not writing it down internally in your head, you are evaluating. And evaluating our process and our growth is not criticizing ourselves. If you really want to grow and you find that you've made mistakes in the past, then evaluate those mistakes by asking yourself, why? Why did I make a mistake? What was driving me? Why did I feel that way? And how can I change that? It's as long as you know why, Andrea here says, eating less doesn't always help with losing weight. I'm very big and trainers love to tell me to eat less. Not realizing I barely eat. It's when I listen to my body and eat more with minimal movement, I lose tons of weight. It's funny that you talk about weight, because my cousin was just telling me that she lost like 5 kilos over a few weeks recently, and like people were commenting and asking like, how do you lose that weight, right? What did you do? And she said, I did nothing, right? And it was funny because she's saying that in the past, she would try so hard to lose weight and nothing happened. She would like not eat properly, or like she'll go on a diet, and she'll like, be really hard on herself, right? And she doesn't really lose weight. But because she has been loving herself, she says she look at herself in the mirror and she goes like, I appreciate you, or like, I love you just the way you are. That's what she tells herself. And just by like her acceptance of herself, like the acknowledgement that I love you just the way you are to herself in the mirror, has helped her develop such a great relationship with her body. So food is no longer the enemy. She doesn't hate looking at herself. On the days that she doesn't look that great, then she just doesn't look in the mirror so often. But other than that, it's no longer become like, I've got to change my body, I've got to change the way I look, So it's become a lot more uplifting and empowering when we look at ourselves and we go, hey, this is what I appreciate about you, right? This is what I love about you. You are completely worth it. And I accept you the way you are. And I think that you are a miracle. I know you are amazing. And if you want to take better care of yourself, I'm there for you. I'm with you every step of the way. That's what you'll say to your best friend, right? So why not say it to yourself in the mirror? Andrea says, yeah, sometimes you're holding on to the weight because of the stress. When you stop stressing, you sleep more, eat more, then the body can release the weight. Yeah, and also like mentally, we're in such a better place, and emotionally, we're in a better place that we can actually go exercise if we want to. A lot of the times the stress stops us from being able to do physical activity too. So everything comes back to our ability to be kind to ourselves and to accept ourselves the way we are. Now, coming back to the topic of success, right? Why I think it's so important for us to focus on the journey and not focus on your end goal is that when you are fully invested in your journey, and I mean fully invested, not money, it can also be money, but what I mean is fully invested in terms of your passion, your hard work, your curiosity, and your enjoyment of the process. And enjoyment includes making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and discovering things about yourself that you never knew, and learning about people, learning to deal with difficult people, whatever it is. That entire journey Like if you focus on that journey, the results will come in ways that you can never even in your wildest dreams imagine. If you focus only on the goal, on like I have to achieve this and I have to be that, then you might not even achieve that goal because your journey ends up sabotaging you. Going back to what I was saying earlier, like plants don't usually die from a lack of water. Plants die from overwatering. So when we are in such a desperate and frenzied need to prove ourselves and to achieve our goals and to hit that target and to just like, prove that we are worth it and that we are able and that we're successful, we are overwatering the plant. We're focusing so much on rushing for the plant to grow, right? We are forcing the plant to grow, as opposed to you're just watering it as and when and feeding it and taking care of it. Like we cannot, like the journey is just like nurturing a plant, a tree, where if you are enjoying the process and you are invested in the process and it means you're taking care of the tree, right? You're letting it have enough sun, the soil is great, you've been watering it, whatever it is you're doing. How can the tree not grow? So what I'm saying is don't focus on what kind of tree you want it to be when you're taking care of a tree, when you're growing a plant or whatever it is. Don't focus on the end image of what you want a tree to be. Focus on the caring and nurturing for the tree, and the tree will grow. Definitely it will grow. How can it not grow? It will flourish and it will grow, and maybe it will even grow to something more beautiful than what you had originally imagined and envisioned. So this is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes in our desperation and need to prove something, to achieve something, to be the best, and we go, and we stress ourselves out, in the meantime, and we beat ourselves up, maybe we end up not even achieving that goal because you're just depleted. How can you care for the tree when you're so tired? So if you can't care for the tree is only going to grow like not very well. So in the end result is that it doesn't look that healthy, and this is self-sabotage, right? We're trying so hard. We're trying so hard to prove something, to prove that we're worthy, to prove that we're great, to prove that we're successful. But in the end, we're so exhausted by it all that we can't even finish climbing the mountain. So enjoy the journey. That's really important. And I don't mean enjoy as in like have fun all the time. I mean, I think you should have fun doing anything in life. However, understand that like there are going to be days that are incredibly difficult. There will be days that you don't feel like doing something that you need to do for your business, and that's normal. Everybody goes through it, but you need to push through it and do it anyway. But it's not because of the end result. It's not because you're looking to succeed, Like I said, if you're nurturing the plant every day, the plant will grow. It will succeed. If you are putting effort and enjoying the journey and nurturing yourself and being kind to yourself and learning and pushing yourself to learn new skills and enjoying that process and being curious and ask questions and really grow, how can success not be achieved? When you don't focus on the success, that's when success becomes something that is even bigger than you ever can envision. When you already envision something in your head, maybe your initial goal is only this small, and you're so focused on that goal that you can't see that if you focus on the journey, maybe, the end result could be something even bigger, something even more beautiful. Ara, he says, I've realized that awareness is my friend. Everything falls into place after that. Yes, because with awareness comes perspective. And awareness comes perspective, then comes practice. So that's when change happens. Yeah. Awareness is not enough. Practice creates change. Anka says, I love how you found the ambition to make a video every day for an entire year, even on days when you didn't feel like it. How did you build that kind of perseverance? What was your mindset on the way to such an accomplishment? Well, I set a goal that didn't lock me down for more than a year, you know? So I felt like a year was something that I could do. And I love, like, you have to understand yourself, right? And for me, I understand that setting a goal like that makes me competitive with myself, which means I want to see if I can do it. And I love experiments. I love it. So I wanted to see if I could do it. And it's the same as when I stopped eating meat. So I've stopped eating meat for 13 years now. I do eat seafood, so I'm pescatarian. So when I first stopped eating meat, I did it because I wanted to see if I could do it. You know, that's one of the reasons. And so, you know, when it comes to like making my videos, I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I enjoyed it tremendously. It wasn't just waiting for the year to end. I enjoyed even the difficulty because I'm discovering something about myself. You know, I'm learning something valuable about myself. And if I didn't do it, I would never have learned that I was capable of this, or I never would have learned that my weakness is that, you know? And one other thing about why I like making videos is because I grow so much from it. So when I was doing it every day, I grew in leaps and bounds, like my own self-development, because you can't be writing about anger, letting go, relationships, awareness, and practice without actually having it deep in your subconscious. So I found that the more I write and the more I make videos, the more aware I am of where I want to grow, and it serves as a reminder for me. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Claudia, thank you for your inspirational chats. I'm glad you find them inspirational. You truly make a difference. As an aside, I bought your happiness course. Is there a way to access it beyond Dropbox? I don't want to keep paying for Dropbox. Thank you for being you. Oh, you can actually download everything onto your desktop once you've accessed Dropbox, or you can download everything into an external drive. So it is initially sent to you via Dropbox, but after you receive it, you can actually download the files and put it in the external drive so that you can access it anytime at all. And then you can delete the files from Dropbox so you don't have to pay for it. I hope that makes sense. If you need more help, you can email support at 30daystobehappyalways.com. Yes. Edna, how can I stop the feeling that I cannot do a job well done, even on my first week of work? I feel like my stomach is getting upset and I want to cry and crawl into bed. Oh, I wish I can give you a hug. Okay, so first of all, congratulations on your first week of work. Yay! Secondly, it's only your first week, so obviously you're not going to be able to know a lot of things. You have to adjust to a new environment, a new location, new people. Your brain is overwhelmed with information. And it is normal to have high expectations of yourself. And that is why you want to cry and crawl into bed, because you feel embarrassed, because you feel like people are judging you, right? Because you feel like you're not living up to expectations of yourself and you worry about what people are thinking about you, right? That's the only reason why you feel so stressed to the point that you want to cry and crawl into bed. So the solution to this is you need to stop judging yourself, and you need to let yourself fully experience your workplace and fully experience even the things you have to learn, the new things you have to learn. What do I mean by that? Whenever we are faced with a challenge, a lot of the times our brains are keeping us from fully experiencing it, which means that if we're looking at, like, somebody's explaining to us how to do something, instead of being fully present and listening, our head gets in the way. We are already thinking, oh no, this is so difficult, I don't know if I can do this, and then you start to have all these thoughts in your head that takes you away from the present moment, that takes you away from the actual thing that you're supposed to be doing. And it's that chatter in your head, that noise that you keep talking to yourself, and you are panicking, and when you start to have that, it snowballs. So a little bit of panic in your head will manifest into a lot of panic in your body and your emotions, and you start to feel more and more and more anxious until you cannot focus anymore, and you just want to go home and cry. You know, you're human. The only reason I can say things like this is because I think it's not just me, but everybody who is human have experienced anxiety or feel stressed about certain thing, or just feel so embarrassed, or feel like you want to impress someone but you're not impressing someone, or you feel like you're letting yourself down, you feel like you're letting people down. And all of these things comes from your own pressure upon yourself. So how do we solve that? We solve that by giving ourselves kindness. Like how, okay, always imagine you're talking to a child who's going to the first week of school. What would you tell the child? Give yourself time. Be kind to yourself. You know, why do you need to have expectations of yourself? Just set standards. Like, oh, you know what? I'm really crap at this right now, I admit it. But in a month's time, I'm going to set myself a challenge. I'm going to learn properly. In a month's time, I'm going to be better at this. Done. Always have actionable goals. One of the reasons why we feel so discouraged and feel so down is because we don't really know, are we going to improve? We don't really know if things will get better, right? So what can help is you set actionable goals so you know that you will get better. You know, if every day you go jogging, obviously at the end of 1 month you have better stamina, correct? So similarly, if you work and you feel like a lot of things you don't know, and you feel like, okay, in 1 month I'm going to learn every day, I'm going to practice every day. In 1 month, at the end of 1 month, of course you're going to be better. It's like you're running for 1 month, of course your stamina is going to be better, right? So you need to be able to talk yourself through it in that sense. I talked about positive self-talk not long ago, and this is one of the things, right? What's in your head and what do you tell yourself, right? So don't worry about whether people are judging you or not if you don't worry about judging yourself. So don't judge yourself, okay? Like Jane here says, you need to get 1 month to adjust to the environment, or just give yourself more time. Right? Cherry here says, so true, enjoy the process and let the results speak for themselves. As long as you do things with a clear conscience and hold no guilt to yourself and others, you can sleep and wake up every day with peace of mind. Days may get stressful, but you can face it with courage and inner peace. Instead of fear and anxiety, which can make things worse, always choose courage. It's worth it. Yeah. I mean, you know, on days that are good, then it's easy to think like that. On days they are not good, then it's harder, you know. And I want to tell you that we've all been there. We're all human, and you're not alone. And even if your life is absolutely perfect now, I can tell you something, that it's not going to be perfect forever, ever, ever. I'm not being a pessimist. This is life, you know. Like, even if your life is so difficult right now, guess what? It's not going to be so difficult for the rest of your life. I'm not trying to be an optimist. I'm just telling you, this is it. Like, this is life, right? Whatever good or bad, it'll pass. It's not about being optimistic or pessimistic, you know. It's about understanding how the world works. Life is such. You know, I was telling my cousin today, one of the main problems with us human beings is that we think we have control, or we want control. We want certain results. We want things to work out a certain way. This is why we think thoughts like, why did this happen to me? You know, I already tried so hard. Why am I not good enough? Or I'm such a good person. Why is this happening to me? Why is God punishing me? You know, what did I do wrong? Right? The reason we ask these questions is because of control. Like, we think that if we're a good person, then God will reward us. Life will reward us. Hey, you can be the best person. You can be the kindest, most generous to charity every day. Give all your money away. Tomorrow you walk across the street, the car hit you, you die. How's that fair? It's not about that. It's not about whether you're a good person or bad person. You know, you can try You can try so hard sometimes, but life is still difficult. Why? Because that's life. How do we know why things happen? We don't know. So what do we know? We know that we can drive whatever that comes our way. We have no control over what comes our way, but we have absolute power over driving it. Driving it means driving our response to the thing, nudging it where we want to go, planning, upping our skills, learning to be better, learning to love ourselves, learning to accept ourselves, learning to pick up family skills, work skills, emotional skills, relationship skills, whatever skills. We can drive whatever happens in our life. Steer it. You know? It's like whatever's going to happen, that road is not up to us to decide. You're alive, I'm alive. I didn't build my road. You didn't build your road. We're all driving. But we don't know where the road's going to take us. We don't know where it's going to end. We don't know if there's going to be a traffic jam along the way. We don't know whether there's going to be an accident. We don't know whether it's going to be a smooth and beautiful scenery. We don't know. Because we don't build our roads. What we do know is that we're in the car and we are driving. And if there's an obstacle, we can steer around it. And we can figure out how we're going to navigate that road. That is in our power. The drive. Yeah? Hi, Victoria. I'm glad you think it makes sense. Ching Shuang here says, life is about experimenting. There's no true or false results. We keep trying till we get what we're expecting, so we won't left there feeling guilty for doing nothing. Claudia, random question. How do you pronounce your last name? Oui. It's like the French oui. So it's Xandria oui. Yes. Linda, I'm glad that you like the topic. Ankar here says, seeing you and other people in the chat going through similar difficulties give me so much comfort. Like, whew, it's not just me going crazy. Yes, you are not the only person going insane a little bit by life sometimes, you know? Some people just have a really smooth road, and some people have suddenly boulders and rocks fall everywhere and they have to navigate like crazy. But whatever it is, once you've navigated past that, there are different kind of scenery, different kind of things, you know. Everything passes. You're constantly moving. Yeah. Okay. It's almost an hour now. I hope that I didn't miss anything major. I hope that if you've had a question, that I've addressed it. If not, I apologize, and you can also come back tomorrow. Tomorrow, Yuri and I will definitely be on. I'm sorry for not being able to make it last week, but tomorrow we'll definitely be on. So I miss doing the live chat with him. I think Yuri is one of the people in my life that always have very interesting and very wise perspective and fun perspective on a lot of issues in life. So yeah, if you want to join us tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you. Ara here says, I agree, you can be a good person, but there's always someone out there that has evil intentions. The power is probably recognizing the weakness and work to overcome it with support and faith. You know, I actually don't believe in evil. I think that we're all human and we have different strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes we just do things that hurt people. We do things that, you know, absolutely is the opposite of kindness. And it's not evil, it's just that some of us are lost in our own suffering, and therefore we transfer the suffering onto someone else. Yeah. Claudia here says, your topic today is really helping me. I just went back to work and I'm being given a lot of new projects where I need to learn new skills that I need to learn on my own, as my boss won't teach me. Your talk has made me realize I need to set some goals and learn those skills on my own. I'm so glad to hear this, Claudia. You know what? We always underestimate ourselves. Oftentimes, even when there's nobody teaching us, we learn much faster too. There's YouTube, there are friends we can call, and I always think if your boss didn't teach you and you learn by yourself, then you have a chance to impress your boss, because they'll be like, holy shit, you're doing something that even I don't know, you know? And so in that sense, you can look at it like, you know what? I would prefer to have a mentor, but if I don't have a mentor, I'm going to kill this, right? I'm going to go and learn. There are tons of YouTube videos out there. I have friends I can call, and I'm going to get this. I'm going to take this as a challenge and just do my best, you know? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining me this Wednesday. I hope you have a fantastic day or night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be happy always. Bye.